Small freight brokerages bring to the transportation industry their own unique set of challenges and benefits. Let's talk about three of each. One of the most highly sought after perks when working with a small freight brokerage is streamlined communication. Typically, when working with a smaller freight brokerage, you're more than likely going to have a single point of contact. And in a world teeming with abbreviations and transportation jargon, it's nice to have one person to go to get this information. On the topic of single points of contact, this brings me to point number 2. It is easier to build a relationship with a single point of contact with a small freight brokerage. The benefit to this, of course, is shipments tend to go more smoothly when there is trust, communication, and a strong relationship between customer and broker. This brings us to point number 3. Smaller freight brokers are typically more specialized. What this means is that smaller freight brokerages tend to stick to what they know and do best. A small freight broker who handles overdimensional and heavy haul shipments may only handle overdimensional and heavy haul shipments because it's what they know and what they're proficient in. We've talked about the benefits of small freight brokerages, but what are some of the challenges? One of the unfortunate realities of smaller freight brokerages is they are not always as financially stable as their larger counterparts. What this means is smaller freight brokerages tend to experience more financial hardships during things like economic downturns, natural disasters, or labor shortages. Number 2 is smaller freight brokerages tend to have smaller networks and resources. What this means is if a truck breaks down from a smaller freight brokerage, they may not have the capacity in their network to recover it and service it the same day that they committed to it. Number 3 is smaller freight brokerages tend to have limited service offerings. A smaller freight brokerage that offers flatbed and heavy haul services may exclusively offer heavy haul and flatbed services. This plays back to the point that we made initially, is that smaller freight brokerages tend to stick with what they're good at and what they know. I'm sure there may be shippers out there watching this saying, now hold on a second, you've told me about the pros and cons, the highs and lows, the challenges and positives of working with a small freight brokerage. Don't larger freight brokerages have the same thing? And you're absolutely right, which is why you should click this video over here, but we'll cover the same for larger freight brokerages.